How's it going, guys? I'm Andrew. I'm the lead designer and product guy for Lone Rider. This is the vlog, let's say, for product development and stuff that we do here, and how we develop products and stuff. Just give you some inside knowledge and also get feedback and get stuff like this. Send you guys out products so you can test it and give us like real world feedback on the gear. That's what we do here. This is what this part of this channel is about. So if you want to see more of the stuff, just subscribe and smash the like button and all that good stuff, whatever those YouTubers say. So today I'm not at home at the moment. I'm away this week, away from the office. But anyway, Lone Rider, we're built up of sections where I ride most of my time. I travel most of my time. So is Fred. He's out now testing in Thailand. He's testing the new quick release system for the motor bags. So he's out there doing that. So we're moving around quite a bit. And at the moment, I'm in New Zealand. I'm kind of stuck here because of the COVID stuff. But it's not a bad place to be, I must say. Hope you guys are doing all right out there, because it looks from here the world's on fire. But I'm sure you'll be fine. At least we've got our adventure riding. We can be alone on our bikes and go discover the beautiful world around us. Maybe a bit more local than normal, but yeah. Anyway, today, so that means because I'm not home, I'm going to do something different. I've got no products with me or anything interesting I want that for you guys. So I'm just going to show you the first step in the design process. So first, we basically have an idea of what we want to make, what people need, what we get feedback from. We get clients. We get many emails from our clients every day. What we could do better, or what we could do, we're doing good, and all this kind of stuff, and what products they would like. And so then we turn these products into reality. This is, and I'm going to show you a couple of steps in that process. So on the screen here, you can see this is Illustrator. This is an Adobe product. It's basically a vector platform, vector line work. And what I do is I conceptualize these designs. I take notes. I have a Word file that everything that comes in through the different channels gets put into this file from different people in the company. And then I read this document and I say, okay, so for example, a bag has to have this, and all these criteria. And I make sure I validate those criteria, make sure that they're actually useful. And then if they're good, then I put them into the actual product. So here we use Illustrator, which is like a vector program from Adobe. It's like Photoshop, but it's using vectors. And I draw the image basically of the bag in 2D. I try and get close enough to the colors as possible and reflective. For example, here's a reflective base and the sides, and I place the logos, and I draw out all these. I draw out individually. All these parts I have to draw out. And then I put them in place. So once you've got the buckles and stuff, you can just like propagate them, so it's no problem. And then I position all the stuff in how I think it works in 2D. Like I think about it in 3D, and I try and put that onto 2D because it's the fastest way to show the supplier, the bag master, or the sample. We call them a sample master, and that's basically a guy that looks at drawing like this and makes the bag in 3D and figures out how it works, because bags are not that simple. They do look simple and they may be comfortable, but it takes a lot of research to figure out how to make them comfortable and how to make them open easily or be waterproof under a certain amount of pressure and stuff like this. That was the Overlander. You can see here I did quite a few. There's even a tank bag in there, or travel organizers and tail light bags and stuff. That's all coming in the next batch, which is coming soon. I'll show you that in a minute. Yeah, so for example, here's the mini bag, the V2 mini bag design. I just did it. The artist's impressions of what does the material look like, what the final product looks like. And if you actually go to our web page, you'll see there it is there. So that's the mini bag there, and that's what it looks like in real life. That's an image, proper image. And that's what it looked like when I came up with the design. I've changed it a few times. We develop it, we test it. Some things work, some things didn't work. So we've updated the drawings, and then then I give them an exact dimensions of how to start, except for unknown dimensions, which is, for example, there's heights and stuff like this. We'll leave that to the sample master, because they know best they can refine that. We work quite closely to make sure it works really well, and you can withstand the beating. So that's kind of like basically the overview of how we start a project. So I start with this, and I take the drawings and I give this to the supplier. I work with the sample master, and we develop the first round of samples. And those samples are basically mock-ups. They don't have any bling, they don't have any logos, nothing like that. They're just getting the basic form and shape sorted. There's no polish on them at all, and they're not supposed to, because it'll be a waste of time, because often they don't fit. They're using the wrong materials, or when you're translating from 2D into 3D, then something's mixed up between me and the sample master. So what happens is, when it gets to sample 2 or sample level 2, we actually get real products back. So this is the tool roll. So this is basically a PowerPoint presentation. I receive the samples that have been made, so that the samples have been made for my drawings, and then I receive them in physical and real, which I'll show you. I can show you next week, as I'm not home. I don't have them with me, but I can show. I actually will show you guys these products in real life, and then once I get them, then I compare them to the drawings that I made, and see what was misunderstood and what was understood. And then I work with the sample master to update them and make them better. And often, what works in my mind in 2D, because you don't have anything to work with to start with, you have nothing, right? So what works in my mind, it doesn't work in reality. It sounds good or feels good, but in reality, something's too short. You need there's too many stitches, which will make the material weak, or lengthwise, and there's many things that can be issues. So I get that back, and then I basically start this kind of PowerPoint page thing, and document all the details that I want changed and updated. For example, here I want to add the logo. Then I specify, I send them the 3D file as well. So I want to put a logo here on the end of the roll. And it looks a bit strange why you'd put the logo right at this position, but once you roll it up and you close it, then you understand why. So for example, I want a black logo, so it's all black on the outside. On the inside, we'll print another logo. I position the logo so I can move this around. This is just like, this is just photoshopped in there, basically, like throw it in here. This is quick, and this is really quick. We don't want to mess around, waste time on making pretty presentations and stuff like this. And you want to get the point across. That's design. That's a big part of design, is the concept, getting the concept through. Making small changes, like making these parts inside out. I feel these look quite cheap, like they do. And this was, for example, this was my original drawing. And then I'm just telling them to follow the original drawing, like put red webbing in, but they wouldn't have put it in before. My sample master wouldn't have put it in because there's an MOQ, like a minimum order quantity for some material. So they would have had to buy 1,000 yards of it or something like that before, just to put like this much onto a sample. So there's a reason why they probably didn't do that, which is fair enough. But yeah, when you go through the first round of samples, it's in the right position. I've tested it. This is the tool roll. It works, holds my tools in place. So now I want to see the finished golden sample. I want to see a sample where I can look at and say, yes, make 10,000 pieces, or how many, because when you're making that kind of scale, you want it to be perfect. You don't want it to have mistakes. I'm a perfectionist. I like things to be perfect, even though no one else is going to notice some things, which I know they don't. I like it to be on point, and then you can just forget about it, and it's done. It doesn't nag. Yeah, so I've removed the flap from the side. There was a flap here, and I've moved it to the side because it doesn't make sense on the side. This is just to hold the tool, so the tools don't fall up or down off or out of the packet when it's rolled. Yeah, and I've done it for quite a few other projects, other products, which I'll show you next week. I'll show you these products next week. I'll show another one here. For example, I give them the label data, so they will put this label stuff into the bag already. and also talk about things like pooling water possibility, like will water pool here in this part and leak into the bag, but it won't, because most of the time the bikes are on the side stand anyway, and it just pull off. And plus, we're going to reinforce this, and plus underneath, I'm going to weld on some kind of TPU, which will basically, yeah, it'll welded the seams so there's no water going to get in. Things like this, we really trying to figure out what will happen in the real world. But what we'll do is I'll make some samples. Once the sample comes back, the next round of samples, which is round 2, I'll just approve them, make my adjustments again, and then I'll ask them to make a few more, and then I'll send that out to the guys for testing. And these guys test them and give me their feedback, and we make changes based on that. But yeah, that's basically it. And so from these 2D drawings, they become real products. So if you check out the Overlander, for example, there's a 38 litre and a 30 litre, 2 sizes. Yeah, so all this started as a basic drawing. Yeah, they all started as a basic drawing and an idea, and a lot of research, a lot of testing. I think the samples to make an actual bag out of scratch that's unique is quite pricey, but you need to go through quite a few iterations to make it mint. Yeah, and then it's awesome. So there's, for example, it's been on the market for a few months now, and people seem to like it. I'm not getting any issues with it either, which is good. So there's not too many updates that we need to do, but it's a product, so it always needs evolution, and also the clients and stuff like that. I cannot imagine where they go and what they do. So they're in freezing conditions, hot conditions. They're in so totally different environments, and they do so many different things with their bag. Then some issues or some improvements that we can add come from those experiences, and then we can just keep updating the bag. But it's good. So we've got this, motor bags there with the Overlander on top and the headlight guard, and it attaches to the back of the bike there. They took a bit of testing to do to find out the right lengths, and there's so many different types of bikes on the market as well. We had to try and make it fit for everyone. That is very hard. A lot of testing, weeks and weeks of just trying to figure that out. Such a small thing, reality, like you just clip it on and it's done. It's actually really quick, but it's quick release. We want everything to be easy. We don't want people to think about it. It should be happen. They should only think about it when they use another product. Think, oh man, that was good. It's a bit annoying that I have to go through all this again. That's when that's when they should realize how awesome it is. Or how much effort goes into these designs. But all good. That's how it is. But yeah, so that's just a little taste of the very start of the design process. So hope you like that. Hope that was interesting for you. Leave a comment down below if you want to give me some ideas about what you want to see. And yeah, see you next week. Cheers.